Hey class, today we're going to be reviewing how to use an input-output table to graph this equation on this graph. Okay, so if we remember right, our x value is always going to be the input, or as I like to call it, the if statement. If x is equal to this, then y will be equal to this. Okay, so let's go ahead and try a few of these and then we'll be able to graph it. So in our x column, we're going to say if x is, and we get to just make up numbers. I like to use 0, 1, and 2 because that makes my life easier. But you can use whatever numbers you want in your input table. Okay, so if x is 0, what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation right here, okay, it's negative 3x plus 5, and we're going to take the x value and substitute it in for x. So I would say negative 3 times 0, notice I used some parentheses to substitute that value in, plus 5. Okay, so if x is 0, I can solve this problem and find out what y is. So let's go ahead and do that. Negative 3 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. There, I did it. Now let's do it again, but this time let's say, what if x is 1? So this time, I'm going to go ahead and substitute the 1 where x goes. So I'd say negative 3 times 1, because x is 1, plus 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve this. Now you'll notice we are dealing with some negatives, so if you're feeling a little unsure, remember that your calculator can help you double check to make sure you're doing negatives properly. So let's do negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And then negative 3 plus 5 is 2. Oh, can't write. There we go. All right, one more. We're going to do one more number. This time we're going to say if x is 2, what is y? So I'm going to take my equation and I'm going to substitute 2 in where the x goes. And I'm going to go ahead and solve. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. Well, okay, great. Now that we've solved our if-then statements, we still need to put these coordinates on the graph. Now you'll notice I do have pairs. If x is 0, y is 5. Okay, that's like doing my ordered pairs, 0, 5. The next one is if x is 1, y is 2. There's my second point. And my third point, if x is 2, y is negative 1. These are my coordinate points. I could have used them straight from the graph, or you can rewrite them, whatever helps you organize your brain. Let's go ahead and graph these points. Remembering that the x value comes first and the y value comes second, I start my pen at 0, 0. And this tells me to move 0 along the x-axis and then up 5 on the y-axis. So I'm going to put that right here. My next point says I'm going to move 1 on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis and put it right there. And my last point says I'm going to move 2 on the x-axis, and since it's negative, I'm going to go down 1 right there. So as you can see with my 3 points on the line, I can kind of sketch in, connect the dots. There's my graph. So we are using input-output tables to fill in a graph. Let's do one more together, and then you'll get to practice. I'd like to do number 3. Now, I chose this one because you might notice it's a little bit less numbers than we did last time. We're going to do it the same way. We're going to set up our if x numbers. And again, I do like to use 0, 1, and 2 because they are easy numbers to work with. So if this happens, what is y going to be? So I'm going to be filling in y is equal to negative x. All right, so let's go ahead and start substituting in these numbers where x is. Now you'll notice when I fill it in, I'm going to say negative, and I'm going to put some parentheses around what the x is. Negative 0. Well, negative 0 is just 0 because there is no negative 0. That was easy. Now we're going to go ahead and say negative 1 is just negative 1. Negative 2 is just negative 2. Now, a lot of you are wondering, Ms. Jones, why are you doing the parentheses thing? That looks so unnecessary. Let me show you why. What if I used x as a negative number? For example, negative 3. If x was negative 3, the parentheses method would help us out a lot because I would take the negative that's there and then insert negative 3 into my parentheses. Now, if you notice, what happens for here is that we have a double negative. The parentheses helped me to realize that I have 2 negatives here, not just the 1. And I would fix that. Double negative means positive and gives me a 3.